So what is IBM Connections under the covers? It's actually quite complicated. So if you have the task of building IBM Connections, you have quite a job ahead of you. So you may need to get some help from some companies who have done that already, or you can access some resources on the internet to help you with that. But what are the moving parts? Well, it's basically a WebSphere application. The data source is DB2 in the back end, and the UI for the users is presented using IBM HTTP Server. For access control, Tivoli Directory Integration is used. And if you want some of the extras, for example, the Connections content management is basically FileNet under the covers, and the metrics portion of Connections runs against Cognos. So any one of these technologies can be a career for somebody. So you have to learn a little bit about a lot of things to be able to administer Connections. And typically, you're going to have more than one person who has an expertise in each of these areas. So this slide might help for those of us who are familiar with Domino to kind of see the parallels into Connections. So we see each of the four main areas. So the web server in Domino is the HTTP task, and you can serve WebEx pages or traditional Domino apps that way. As we mentioned in Connections, that's IHS or IBM HTTP Server. The directory is the Domino directory for Domino applications. And for Connections, it's LDAP, which is Lightweight Directory Access Protocol, which is how Connections finds out who you are and what you're allowed to do. So that directory that gets looked up could be the Domino directory, or it could be Active Directory or Tivoli's directory too. In Domino, the actual application is all contained in an NSF. So the design, so how it looks to the user, the code that runs to manage that data, the security, who can do what, who can see it, and all the data, it's all contained in an NSF. In Connections, it's not all in one place. So the data itself is in DB2, which could be, and usually is, on a completely separate machine, and may be clustered and all of that good stuff. And all the application logic, including the UI and the security, is all handled inside WebSphere Application Server, which is a Java 2 Enterprise Edition platform. So there is a lot to learn to get Connections up and running, and then to be able to use it either to develop or to administer. Now, the end users, they don't see any of this, but of course for the IT professionals, it becomes, something they have to deal with. Now, I'm primarily an application developer, so I thought I'd give some insights into developing